999ers risk their lives every day keeping us safe.
You're putting yourself out there to help other people at their most precious time of need.
But all too often, they're abused and attacked.
Their house is on fire and they're attacking us.
I was standing up with her hands around my throat.
These personal attacks on police, paramedics and firefighters are at an all-time high.
He's telling me, I'm going to kill your wife, and I'm going to kill your family, and I'm going to kill you.
Leaving them traumatised and unable to work.
How do you come to terms with knowing that you can't go and do the job that you love?
But while the violent criminals responsible are hunted down and brought to justice, our protectors fight to get well and back on the job.
We kept people safe, we put away the bad guys.
I'm not going to let some man ruin it for me. This is my future, this is what I enjoy doing.
Ready to face the next critical incident. Coming up, police in Kent are threatened by an offender with a knife.
Excuse me, you didn't even leave a doctor. No, don't touch that knife!
That was when the male turned to me with the knife. And I kind of thought, oh, I think I'm next.
But the suspect makes a desperate bid to escape the law.
We need to deal with this. We can't let this male get away no matter what happens. We have got to apprehend him.
Firefighters in Newcastle and Hull are on shift as bonfire night approaches, the most dangerous night of the year.
This time last year, we had a number of firework-related incidents. People basically using drain pipes and putting rockets in the drain pipes and literally launching that at us.
And 2 officers are in shock after a nasty assault.
And then he brings his hands up under my coat and his thumbs found my eyeball straight away.
Like every force across the UK, Kent Police have experienced a surge of attacks on their officers. Last year, there were 1,234 attacks on Kent police officers, the equivalent of nearly 24 per week. PC Jed Clark has been a serving officer for less than 2 years, but he already has first-hand experience of criminals attacking the police.
On a few occasions, I have been involved in assaults against myself and colleagues, but unfortunately at the moment, with the rate of crime and violent crime especially, it's a pattern that we are seeing more and more, unfortunately.
And one incident from March 2020 stands out in Jed's mind.
So this is the point where we've arrested him, got hands onto him. There's a panic button bush here. And it's when he's made off now with the knife in hand.
It started like every early shift. You're kind of getting settled in for the shift. You've been given your crewings for the day, so who you're going to be working with. On this occasion, I was with Selena, my friend, and we were just nattering away in the briefing when we were given a really immediate call to exit the briefing early. And the call that we received was that there was a female and a male arguing on the street. It was just outside the town centre of Ashford, along one of the main roads. It is the very definition of a public place. There's all walks of life, there's commuters, there's children, there's people going early morning shopping, there's people going for walks. Our main priority straight away is public safety. At this stage, again, we don't know exactly what's gone on. At this point, we just know there's been an argument, so we need to keep everyone safe. We need to separate both parties of that argument, find out what's gone on.
Has he done anything?
So we arrived on scene to be greeted by a member of the public who stated that there was a male being arguing with a female. He pointed out the male to me. He's probably around about 30 metres ahead of me at this point. Instinctively, went to get his attention to call him over. We had to sort of jog after him a little bit because he wasn't stopping. We need to be careful on how he reacts to us.
Yeah, mate. Do you want to stop there for me? Stop there for me.
I started engaging with him. just talking to him, letting him know that at this moment we just needed to talk to him to work out what had happened, just to ensure primarily that everyone's safe and well.
I'm not saying you haven't done anything, mate.
Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah. Just
You've been arguing with a female?
Yeah, I've been arguing, yeah.
Okay, has it just been a verbal argument?
Yeah, I just argued with her.
Okay, all right. What's your name, mate? What's your name? We just got to take a few details. You're not nicked or anything. We're just talking to you, mate.
He was very kind of up there straight away, but one part of the main job of policing is knowing how to talk to people. Once you can talk to someone, you can bring them down to a lower level without needing to resort to any force.
I'm a real man, that's why when I get hurt on here, I tell the truth.
Yeah, exactly, you've told us that.
While me and my colleague were speaking to the offender at this stage, the victim came up behind us and alleged that he had her phone.
Right, do you want to go back to the
Can I have a chat with you?
We'll come have...
No, don't speak to her like that. Do not...
It became apparent that he wasn't treating her with much respect, was quite abusive towards her verbally. It was at that point that Selena took her away after we got the phone back for her, as your police instinct kicks in that maybe this isn't just a verbal argument you've been told about, and there's more to it.
Excuse me?
I remained with the male. He was a very kind of trying to come across masculine, the man kind of telling me, oh, I'm a real man, I can do what I want.
Are you men? You are a man? I'm a man.
Yep.
And I could straight away tell that that was his mindset, was he was the boss and it was his way or the highway, and that she had no power in this relationship. It was very clear that he was the controlling person there.
Where are you what's your plans now? I know, did you give my colleague your date of birth?
I was just talking to him, keeping him calm. But again, at this stage, nothing to indicate to me that there's a risk. Shortly after, my colleague came back and kind of gave me the nod, and as soon as she gave me the nod, I knew he was going to be arrested for something. At this stage, I didn't know what. He was arrested for stalking and harassment.
Like, at this moment in time, you're under arrest for stalking. You do not have to say anything that may harm. Get off.
He was just being a bit resistive to us, kind of not giving us his arms, kind of kicking off, saying, oh, what, no, this doesn't need to happen.
Stalking. You do not have to say anything that may harm.
We both closed on him, one on each shoulder, got hands onto him. Again, not expecting any resistance at this moment, maybe just a bit of a lock-up. But at that point, when he locked up, we put him to the wall, just so we had a bit more control over him and he wasn't a risk to the public.
Excuse me, you didn't even need a doctor. No, don't touch.
Get that knife.
No.
And it was at that point, I remember just hearing Selena shout, he's got a knife, he's got a knife. And it was at that point that he exploded upwards. His aggression went right up. And I thought that she'd been stabbed because I thought that he'd got the knife out of his pocket. But I remember her shouting, and at that point I thought, yeah, she'd been stabbed. And that was when the male turned to me with the knife. And I kind of thought, oh, I think I'm next. Everything just started to go in slow motion. You really realised the gravity of your situation. You really realised what could happen to my colleague and to myself.
Later, the offender makes a run for it, but Jed and his colleague are hot on his heels.
We need to deal with this. We can't let this male get away no matter what happens. We have got to apprehend him.
Criminals are increasingly using cars as weapons. This footage from 2019 shows the terrifying moment a man runs over a police officer in a hijacked police vehicle. West Midlands police officers are attending reports of a stolen car. As they approach, one of the passengers throws a brick at the police and the car reverses, trying to get away.
Go, get out, get out.
Officers with tasers arrive and the passenger is arrested and handcuffed. But the driver still thinks he can get away.
Stop being stupid. Do not move.
He scrambles through the taser wire and jumps into an unmarked police car.
Officers at Moore Park Avenue. Edgbaston, officers with mows.
Despite being surrounded by several officers, he begins to reverse, with no care for PC Gareth Phillips, who falls and is hit by the car. The driver then speeds away, driving at nearly 100 miles per hour through residential streets. The offender abandons the car and attempts to escape on foot.
Yankee Mike from Romeo Charlie Oscar 24. He angered the vehicle and he's Ladypool Road, he's gone into a shop.
He is eventually tracked down and arrested by armed police.
Armed police! Armed police! Down! Down on the floor now! Get down the floor! Down! On the floor now! You! On the floor! Get down on the floor now! Down! Down! Down the floor! Down the floor!
PC Gareth Phillips is still recovering from the incident and required life-saving surgery for his injuries. The driver pleaded guilty to causing grievous bodily harm with intent to resist arrest, 2 counts of vehicle theft, dangerous driving, 2 counts of driving while disqualified, 2 counts of assault, assaulting an emergency worker, aggravated vehicle taking, and 2 charges of driving without insurance. He was sentenced to 12 years in prison. The passenger admitted 2 counts of car theft, 3 driving offences including dangerous driving, having no insurance, and driving other than in accordance with a licence. He was sentenced to 28 months in prison. It's the week leading up to Bonfire Night, and all over the UK, fire services prepare for one of the busiest nights of the year. In Newcastle, crew manager Scott Wilson and his team are starting their night shift. This is the worst time of the year for attacks on firefighters.
I've had a bicycle thrown off the target response vehicle. I've had bottles, we've had bricks. Fireworks on bonfire night we've had thrown at us. Actually had dirty nappies thrown at with, believe it or not.
This time last year we had a number of firework-related incidents. People basically using drain pipes and putting rockets in the drain pipes and literally launching that at us, directly aiming to hit us. It's quite daunting.
Obviously it upsets you and it can be dangerous, but it's become part of the job now where it's happening regularly. We shouldn't have to put up with it, we do put up with it.
In Hull, Humberside Fire and Rescue Service are also preparing for a night shift in the lead-up to Bonfire Night.
Typically, Bonfire Night is just carnage in terms of you just in and out, in and out. Can't leave a fire burning uncontrolled, so sometimes you'll get challenged about why you're extinguishing the bonfire that they've lovingly built.
We seem to be getting attacked more, we seem to be getting more bother. There's more areas that are getting worse and worse. We've been responding to calls and items have struck the engine. We've had fireworks fired at us down streets. We've had bottles, bricks, things like that thrown at engines. Or if you pull up to a fire where there's a lot of youths there, you're on your guard a little bit because you don't know what's going to happen. It's just frustrating because you're there to help. Whether they see you spoiling the fun or I don't understand it.
It's going to be a long week for the crew in Hull. Back in Newcastle, Tyne and Wear Fire and Rescue Service are anticipating a busy night.
Chances of getting attacked by fireworks tonight are high.
But tonight, they'll be ready for anything. They are excited to be launching a new piece of kit that they hope will deter people from attacking them or their vehicles. They're using body-worn cameras for the very first time.
Press one button on the face to activate it. Red light will come on, it's filming. Press it again, hold it, switches it off, deactivates it. Good to go. Just need to press the face now and then that'll record.
Scott and Kevin are attending a call-out in a tactical response vehicle, which is used for more minor situations.
The van becomes a target for missiles and things like that because once your drivers are at the pump, you're working alone, but they see that as a good opportunity to attack someone when they're on their own. On the run into bonfire night, generally speaking, you would get an increase in what we call secondary fires, which is your general wheelie bins, refuse, stuff where youths would pile up in a field and light on fire. So the TRV is designed to attack these fires and keep the frontline appliances available for house fires, road traffic collisions, etc.
Sure enough, the call-out is to attend a bin which has been set on fire.
And that is that. 2 buckets is enough.
Back in Hull, the team has also been called to a refuse fire in the park, but this one's on a larger scale.
Good size, isn't it?
The fire has been started close to surrounding trees, and they need to extinguish it quickly to stop it from spreading. The crew can see the blaze as they pull up at the scene and quickly get the pumps into action.
We get a lot of these when it's coming up to bonfire night, just take a wheelie bin from someone's house to set fire to it. Middle of nowhere like this, really. Get quite a few of these.
Within minutes, the crew has the blaze under control. Later, we catch up with our fire and rescue teams as one of their most challenging weeks is made even more difficult by a complex rescue.
We'll have you out as soon as we can, all right? Just stay calm.
Still to come, a Kent police officer chases down an armed criminal.
We know he's got a knife, we know he's prepared to use it.
Get down! And an erratic driver launches an attack on 2 police officers.
All I could hear was Simon saying, he's got my eyes, he's got his thumbs in my eyes. I was just trying to hit him, kick him, do anything to stop him doing what he was doing to Simon.
Merseyside police officers know the job they do is a dangerous one. Last year, the force recorded over 600 assaults on officers. But in 2015, the close-knit force suffered a devastating loss when one of their colleagues was killed on duty.
One day in particular that will stick with me for the rest of my life is the loss of one of our colleagues on duty.
PC David Phillips was killed on the 5th of October when a thief rammed into him in a stolen vehicle.
I was very close friends with Dave Phillips. We were all on duty at the time. We were all directly involved in the incident, and it was very difficult.
He was a close colleague, a friend, and it ripped apart the team. It ripped apart the lives of all those involved.
Just an all-round nice guy who would do anything for anybody, you know, and he paid the ultimate sacrifice trying to do his duty that night. I'm not going to lie, I felt a huge deal of responsibility after what happened that night, because ultimately, as the inspector, you're in charge of everybody. There were very close friends and colleagues of Dave's that were on duty who fought desperately to save that guy's life. And it'll stick with me forever, what they went through.
How the team then responded, you know, the closeness, their ability to rely on each other, to talk to each other, it's difficult to describe.
It gelled us together even more as a team. We were a good team anyway, but it made us gel together even more.
PC David Phillips is never far from the minds of this team at Merseyside, and they continue to honour his memory every time they go out on duty.
You're providing a service to the public. I'm proud to do that. I've been an officer towards the twilight years of my police career, and I'm happy to have been on the front line and operational, and long may that continue.
I think I have a sense of pride of being a police officer. I have quite strong morals, a strong sense of right and wrong. Being a police officer gives me the opportunity to do something about that and to try and make sure that the community at large are kept safe.
At this moment in time, you're under arrest.
In Kent, PC Jed Clark and his colleague have been called to a report of a disturbance on a busy street. As they attempt to apprehend the suspect, he resists arrest and produces a knife.
No, don't touch! Get that knife! No, get that...
We know he's got a knife, we know he's prepared to use it. This is 7:30 in the morning, we've got school kids, we've got a bus across the road that's just picked up school children. I went to try and kick him, just to try and hit him to the floor. And I remember kicking and he moved away and I followed around with a kick, and it was at this point that he made a run for it. We need to deal with this. We can't let this male get away no matter what happens. We have got to apprehend him.
Where's the knife?
I gave chase, I shouted to my colleague asking where the knife was. Did he still have it on him? Was it in his hand? Because I couldn't see it at this point. He cut across a car park. Once he reached the car park, I knew that he was going into a new build estate that had no out roads. So he was essentially running into a cul-de-sac, into a dead end. I remember walking around the corner, seeing the male turn towards me, and he looked at me, and he had the knife in his hand, and I think I was probably around about 20 metres, 15 metres away. And I remember looking at him and him holding this knife, and I thought he was just about to throw it at me, just to chuck it at me, to try and get me to back away, because it was so clear that he did not want to be caught. If he throws it, there's a chance it's going to hit here, there's a chance it could hit here, hit anywhere. So that was really heart-stopping.
Man has lost the knife.
He turned back round and he threw the knife onto the roof. I know that the knife's gone. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have another one. It doesn't mean he doesn't have something worse on him. So immediately I knew that this male needed to be put on the floor. We needed to control him.
Get down now! Get down now!
I needed backup. I needed my colleague there to help. And again, as soon as she came, we were able to get the male into handcuffs. And I remember him snapping him into those handcuffs was such a relief, because at that point I knew that he wasn't going anywhere.
No, stay there! Stay down on the floor. Get your other hand behind your back. Stay with. Well, do you find that? Shut up! I'm not shut up! Right. Do you understand you're under arrest for stalking? Right. Possession of offensive weapon. But don't hurt me! Right, you didn't think about how you carried on.
Although both officers were badly shaken, neither of them sustained any injury.
Following the arrest, I remember the radio squawking. You heard the sirens coming, and it was a massive relief knowing that you had units close by that were going to be able to assist.
The offender was convicted of 2 counts of assaulting an emergency worker, a malicious communications offence, 1 charge of common assault, and another charge of possessing a bladed article. He was sentenced to 1 year and 8 months in prison.
Nice, it was...
With the offender safely detained, a search begins for the knife.
There, just there, mate. Get your gloves on. 7-2, knife located.
The knife itself was a steak knife. It was quite sharp, serrated. It was about 5 inches long. The scariest part of it was how concealable it was. And if it hadn't been for Selena's reactions, we could have been dealing with something so much worse, because if that knife had come out of his pocket, we would have been in a lot of trouble. There is a moment here when that I went to kick, but I missed. So we've now got the male making off. I think the first time that I properly watched it outside of the incident, it brought it all back that happened, and something so mundane and so simple had gone so wrong so quickly. It was at this point that I came around the corner and he's facing me with the knife. You hear these stories coming from other officers, but you don't expect it to happen to you at such an early point in your service.
Jed is determined to use this experience positively and to further his career in the police.
You're always chasing perfection in this job. There's always room for development. That's something that I've always taken on board and that I've always wanted to develop and become the best police officer possible. And this has been an experience where I've really felt that I can develop from it. Violent crime is becoming more apparent in every element of criminality, and it's something that is so sobering and that we are so aware of. And you don't want any of your colleagues to go home hurt or not go home. You want them to be able to go home to their family, their children, their parents, and be able to give them a hug and just say everything's okay.
We've been following 2 fire crews in the week leading up to Bonfire Night, a period where attacks on fire crews are at their peak.
It really is varied. It can be really quiet all of a sudden. It can just be really busy.
First and foremost, we've got to get fires put out, but we've got to make sure that we keep a safe distance if there's a number of kids that, throwing rockets and fireworks at us.
In a response to a massive increase in attacks on firefighters across the UK, Tyne & Wear Fire and Rescue Service have begun rolling out body-worn cameras.
You do your risk assessment, you weigh it up whether it's safe to approach, you take it incident by incident.
So far tonight, the teams have been dealing with secondary fires and false alarms. In Hull, the team are woken up by another call-out, but it's not a fire at all.
A female has a stainless steel ring stool on her finger. So she's had a ring stuck on her finger. They've called us. And what we have to do, what's the ring made out of?
Meanwhile, in Newcastle, the team also receives a call that's not a fire, though this one is a bit more serious. They've been called to a block of residential flats where 3 people are trapped in a lift.
Well, one of you grab the first aid kit, the other grab the lift keys. Try me on.
Hello there, it's the fire service. We'll have you out as soon as we can, all right? Just stay calm.
The 3 individuals have already been stuck in the lift for a couple of hours. The crew wrench open the doors to give the occupants some breathing space.
Oh my God!
Just stay there. Give it 2 minutes.
The lift is stuck between floors, so the crew must make their way to the roof space to gain access to the lift control.
This one, I'm going to go up here.
Are you stopping there, Scott?
Yeah, we've stopped it.
Thank you so much.
At last, the occupants are set free. It's been a busy night for the crews. They've been extinguishing fires and carrying out rescues. Fortunately, there haven't been any assaults on the crews or their vehicles. And no reason to switch on their new body-worn cameras.
So it was fairly busy, but nothing too serious has went on. I think the weather sort of helped out in the end with the rain coming in.
It's end of our shift now. Fairly quiet night, really, not too bad. So be home soon, not a bad one.
Sergeant Simon Kempton and PC Charlotte Harvey have been through an ordeal which has bonded them for life.
It can't have been 10, 12 yards from here that he did just pull his car up, half in the carriageway, half on the verge.
And we had a decision to make then, because the vehicle was dark, he had no lights on, and I just thought at some point someone's going to come up behind him and drive into the back of him.
It's awful watching somebody else be hurt just for doing their job. It's horrible.
Being assaulted should never be a part of my job.
Assaults on officers are not only tough on the victims, but also on their families.
Hello, Charlie.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you? Yeah, good. Yeah. Hello, darling. You all right? Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm gonna steal a pasty.
You're going to borrow a pasty?
Acquire.
Being the parent of a police officer, there's always that bit of background worry. Will something happen? Will something go wrong? But you can't live your life like that.
Being the partner of a police officer is also a worry.
Pasta's probably done now. I think the effect on the partner often gets forgotten as well, because people tend to concentrate on the officer.
It's quite a scary thing to go through on the receiving end when I don't know what I'm dealing with. So
The incident that had such an impact on Charlotte and Simon occurred in October 2017 in Poole. And Charlotte had been in the job for less than a year.
Crewed up with a young in-service officer who I'd never worked with before, and that's not unusual. It's always quite nice.
First time I ever met Simon was that shift. Whole police is a bit like a family anyway. It wasn't like we were treating each other like strangers.
And we're driving down an A road, so it's a busy old road normally, but it's pitch black. It's only single lane in each direction, and there's no lighting. And we come up behind a vehicle, quite a dark vehicle, and it's not got any lights on, and it's going really slowly.
The car was quite obviously not being driven either correctly, either the driver was distracted.
Part of me thought the driver might be drunk, part of me thought they might be lost. But Charlotte called up for a marked car to come and assist us.
And the car just stopped, basically. It pulled up on the verge, stopped. The driver got out.
So I set off the blue strobe lights so that he knows we're police. And I say to Charlotte, wait here a second, I'll just jump out and see what's going on. Before I've even opened my door, the guy's out of the driver's door and he's gone round the front of his car and he's put the bonnet up. So I quickly nip and I join him and I'm stood next to him. Vividly remember, I'm actually on his right-hand side and he's got his hand up, holding the bonnet up, and he's looking and says, the engine keeps cutting out, the engine keeps cutting out. And he was slurring his words. He really was slurring his words.
Got out the car myself, leaving everything on so that we were still lit up, and joined Simon at the side of the car.
So I take the decision then I'm going to have to arrest him because I think he's unfit to drive. So I take hold of him and said, look, I can't let you drive off, mate. I'm going to have to put you under arrest. And at that point, he reacted quite poorly.
He quickly became violent, attacking both officers at once.
It's a real blur, and I can remember certain bits, flashes.
Both of us were dragged to the floor at points. We dragged him to the floor. He got up, he was putting in punches, elbows.
And then he brings his hands up under my coat, and his thumbs found my eyeballs straight away. And his fingers were on the back of my head, so I couldn't pull back.
It just didn't appear to be stopping anything. I deployed my parva, didn't appear to have any effect on him whatsoever.
So I just punched him as hard as I could in his sort of torso. Unfortunately, he lets go.
The driver wants to get back behind the wheel, but Simon moves quickly.
Simon put his arm in the car and took out the keys and threw them.
And then Charlotte and I, still at his driver's door, he's trying to kick his way through his door to get to us. So we're just putting our weight onto the door. And I remember saying to Charlotte, this is all right, we'll just keep him here, and then, you know, everyone else will turn up in a minute, and then job done.
But with only 2 officers and the car unlocked, The driver manages to get out through the passenger door.
So I've gone to put my weight across his torso, and I remember thinking I don't want him to spit at me or bite me, so I've turned his face away from me. Charlotte is on his other side, and Charlotte goes to put her weight on his left-hand side, and he punched Charlotte.
I had my hair up, much like I do today, in a bun. He just managed to get a good grip on it and just pulled me backwards.
And again, both of his hands reach up, and his thumbs again go into my eyes.
All I could hear was Simon saying, he's got my eyes, he's got his thumbs in my eyes. I was just trying to hit him, kick him, do anything to stop him doing what he was doing to Simon.
Charlotte's tactics work, and she manages to force the assailant to release Simon, but they immediately face another danger as the man runs into the road in the line of oncoming traffic.
So Charlotte and I run into the road, push him out of the way of the car, and we manage to, I mean, in my mind's eye, when I think back, it's a split second before the car passes us. So then he punches me again and then runs into the road a second time.
The second time he ran into the road, I remember thinking, oh God, now what? Like, is he going to get hit? Are we going to get hit? All I remember thinking is that the only line of defence I've got left is my baton. I'd never used it before. I've never used it since.
And I remember thinking that car's going really, really quick. I'm not going to get there in time. And just as I was thinking, we're both going to get hit by this car, it just screams to a halt. I didn't realise that it was a police car.
Simon and Charlotte's backup had arrived.
And then the door opened and a really authoritative, commanding voice shouted, "Taser, taser, get on the floor." To the point it was so commanding and authoritative, I nearly went, no, him, right, okay. And the guy, brilliantly, just went, stopped, and he sort of lay on the floor.
The incident was over almost as quickly as it began.
Once he was on the floor and got cuffs on him, I think I just sat there for a second, just trying to get my breath back, and then loads of other units started to arrive from almost out of nowhere. So I was very happy for people to be there.
I had bruising on my torso, my ribs, from where the guy kicked me, some bruising around my face, and particularly around my eyes, where he gouged my eyes.
Simon then made a phone call to his partner, Alex, who he had only been seeing for a year at the time.
It was quite a weird experience to get that call because all of a sudden it was your mind flips because you suddenly think, you're trying to picture what's happened and trying to understand it from previous experience, but I've never had that before. I just didn't even cross my mind about the sorts of things he could be stepping into because it's not something we'd really talked about. So it wasn't really until he called me to say that he was in hospital because of something that happened that I really had any understanding of what that feels like.
Charlotte also called her mother after the incident.
It was definitely quite flippant. Oh, no, it was just something that happened at work. Yeah, no, we're fine, I got punched in the face and my hair pulled and, that once the incident was resolved, we went to the A&E and we were told as much as, she wanted to tell us. I suppose for her, if she wasn't making it a big deal, then we weren't going to make it a big deal.
The driver was charged with 2 counts of assaulting a police officer, failure to provide a specimen for analysis, and driving whilst disqualified. He was jailed for 4 months, ordered to pay £300 in compensation, and banned from driving for 36 months.
If it was to ever happen again, I'd be quite happy to have Simon by my side.
I came away with really minor injuries, very, very lucky, only because Charlotte was there, and Charlotte was an absolute warrior, so thank you, mate.
Since the incident, Charlotte is more conscious of taking care of herself and taking time out.
We can't really expect to look after other people, and we need to make sure we look after ourselves, and my way of dealing with that is sport and exercise and trying to look after my body in a healthy way.
Charlotte's mum is also a huge support to her.
I haven't seen this album before. I've seen like all of our albums, but I've not seen this one.
haven't you? Do you remember when you wanted to become a police officer?
Not close, no.
But you remember always saying you wanted to be one?
Yeah.
Very compassionate, considerate, but she does like to be in charge, so it didn't surprise me when she wanted to be a police officer.
It's so beautiful.
For Simon, the incident has given his partner, Alex, insight into the dangers of his job.
You need to think about how it affects you as well. A bit open with you about what sort of work I'm doing, I guess.
I probably didn't really have that much of an understanding until that point when that happened. I think it was a bit of a reality check for me, really, I guess. So I would naturally feel quite nervous about you going out on patrol. But I'll get used to it.
But there was some good news for Simon and Charlotte and their families. Their efforts were rewarded with a Bravery Award.
So proud of Simon when he was nominated. I mean, I remember he called me. I think Simon, again, the nature of this man, played it down a little bit. He was a bit like, wow, you're not going to believe it, but I've been nominated for this Bravery Award. I think he deserves a huge amount of recognition. Yeah, I'm really proud of him.
I feel very honoured that I was so young in service and nominated for such a big award. And then to find out I was going up to London, going to Downing Street, and then when I told my parents, they were just so excited about it.
I was at the front of the shop, and once she got off the phone, oh my goodness, Andy, this is a really big deal.
I look back on it with a lot of happy memories. I've since lost my dad that came to the awards, and you know, he was very proud, and he came to number 10 with me. If he was proud of you, he'd tell you. So he did. No, good man.
Police officers, they'll go running into a situation and put themselves right in the danger line. And they need to know that society's got their back.
But I just think that the things that we do and other colleagues do and how brave they are, I think it goes to show what type of person a police officer is. I'm very proud to be one.